Hello guys, are you hearing me? Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
I hope you are hearing me very well and clearly. Hello.
Yes,
Yes,
It's clear, right?
yes.
Good. So how is the material so far, the one I share with you people? And how is the lecture going? Any difficulty? Modu Sanyang.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. There's a noise coming from your end. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Fine, thank you. I'm driving, just logging in.
Okay. So
I
that's
decided
not
to connect on my phone.
that's not safe, huh?
Yeah, but I just want to don't want anything to miss anything. But I'll soon reach where I'm going.
So drive
Once I
safely, please.
yeah. Maybe in the next 5 minutes I'll reach.
That's good. And I
Yeah.
heard that we are going back to classrooms next week.
Next week. Oh,
Yeah, I think tertiary institutions have been open now. So there's I'm not sure yet. I don't know what your school admin
yes, I
is doing.
saw. I saw it, but I'm still waiting for the school. I don't know what the school is going to decide. Anyway.
All right, that's true. So we wait for them.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Yes.
No problem. All right,
Morning.
so let's start. It's 6 minutes past the normal time. So those who are not in, they can catch up with us. Uh, So we will continue with our analysis of demand and supply. So we will use how we use linear equation to
Okay.
solve some. Uh, so this is a supply, and supply and demand analysis. Supply and demand analysis. So last time we had an example whereby we try to sketch a demand schedule. An example was given to us with a linear demand function of P equals to minus 2Q
I know two Q.
plus 50. And I think we graphed this. And also
Yes,
after
we did it.
graphing it, there were questions also. The first part was to sketch this, which we did, I guess, to sketch it. So there were follow-up questions. One was that, to find P, that is what will be the value of P if quantity Q equals to 9. Another follow-up question was
Minus
to find the value of quantity,
define
that is
Q
Q, when the price
when P
is
is 10.
10, exactly. And I think we finished
10,
it.
yeah.
So we sketched it,
Yeah, we did it.
you understand? And we have a sketch like this. So on our vertical, we have price. Here we have quantity. So obviously it's a demand curve. We need to know here will be our what? Our P-intercept, that's price intercept. Here we'll have our Q-intercept, that's quantity intercept, and we know how to find these things. We talked about it, and
Yeah.
normally A is our, sorry, -2 is our A,
The slope. Yeah.
50 is our B. And obviously, this will be 50 here, this point here. And someone might ask, how did you get 50? We always say that P-intercept is the constant here, the B.
Mm-hmm.
So here we will have 25, and someone might ask, how did we get 25? And 25 is very simple. It's just B over A minus. So we know that B is 50 and A is -2. So minus minus will cancel. So 2 into 25, 2 into 50, that will give you 25. So that's how we got this 25. So we also, they ask us to find P when Q is 9. It's very simple. What we do, we just evaluate or substitute wherever we see uh, quantity, we substitute it with the value of 9. So if we go on to do that, this will -2 times quantity, this quantity. But we know that this quantity is, we say that assume is 9. So we replace it, the letter Q there with 9 plus 50. So at the end of the day, we will have a value of 32 if you do this. So this will give you -18 plus 50, that will be 32. The B part, this is A part. The B part is that they are asking us to find a quantity. So what we will do is straightforward. So we have P, so we remove this P there and replace it with 10 because they said price is what? 10. But what we don't know is the quantity. So they are asking us, or the question is asking us to find the value of the quantity when price is equals to 10. So at the end of the day, all what we will have, this like terms, this is a constant, this is a constant, they are like terms. So all what we will do, we bring this here to this side, we bring this one order to this side. So this is -2. If it's coming here, it will be Q. So it will be 50 minus 10. And 2Q will be 40. So we divide both sides by 2, 2. Then the answer will be 20. So the quantity will be 20. So we can even come and say that if the price, if the quantity is 9, then the price will be 32. So here we calculated it. If the quantity is 9, this will be 32. We calculated it here. So we are saying that if price is 10, quantity will be what? 20. So if price is 10, then quantity will be 20. So this is what we stop. This is where we stop. We should be able to sketch linear, because this is a linear demand curve. We should be able to sketch it. So if we looked at a demand curve now, we know like from here, let's call here A, and here we call it B. So movement from A to B, we call it what? A movement along the demand curve. But is it possible for demand curve to shift, like the shift here or the shift here? So if you go back to your principles of economics, I'm sure you have seen something like shift, shift in demand
Oh.
curve. So when we said shift, this class is changing into economics, obviously. All what we are doing, we are using mathematical tool to solve some economics problems and business as well. So when we said shift in demand curve, what do you guys understand by shift in demand curve? Who wants to give a shot and try?
Okay, a shift in demand curve mean either an increase or a decrease. Hey.
Exactly. So perfectly explained. So he said that a shift in demand curve could be a decrease, right? Could be a decrease in demand curve. Let's even say just a decrease in demand, or increase uh, okay, could be a decrease in demand, or could be decrease in demand or increase in demand. So when we say decrease in demand, it's just, is it a rightward shift in demand or a leftward shift?
I think it's left.
You think, you're not sure, right?
It's level.
Huh?
When
Yeah,
it
so decrease is
if
a
it
leftward
decreases,
shift.
it comes
This,
down.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
it's a leftward shift. Yeah, so leftward, so increase is a right, left shift to the right. So this is shift to the this is shift to the right. So this is left, this is right, and we have that. So, but other than that, for example, let's say that we start with this. So we have our price and we have our quantity. So we have a demand like this. So let's say that the price is at the price of 2, the quantity demanded was 4. So when we say demand, decrease in demand or shift of demand to the left, what we mean is that the demand curve will shift here, will come. So remember, the shift in demand curve is not caused by price, you know, so it can, this would be like, let's say 3, but remember the price is constant, not so. So when we talked about shift
Yes.
in demand curve, it's caused by other factors, other than the price. So what are these factors? That's what we are going to look. So when you see, whenever there is other factors that change, demand curve could either increase or decrease. So we will look at this mathematically. What you have seen in your principles of economics was just quantitative analysis. So what could be the reason in this decrease in demand here? What could be the reason? Anyone who wants to give it a try or a shot?
Maybe the income.
Huh? Income, yeah, but what happens to income? Income is a possible reason. Is it income increase or decrease?
I think when it decreases.
It will decrease. So yeah, so remember, other than price is responsible for the movement. Like if this is the demand curve, the movement here along this is price that causes that. But shift in demand curve, either to left or right, is caused by other factors. And one of them is what? Is income, the income of the buyer. So another thing that could be another thing is a test of the buyer. Another possibility is what? Expectations. But most often people focus most on this. Or another possibility is what? The price of, let's say the price of what?
Of related goods.
Complemented goods or the price of substitute.
Or the
So these are the
yeah.
reasons, these are some of the reasons or that can cause demand curve to change or shift. So maybe this demand, it decreases as a result of because the income of the consumer decreased. So when they say the income of the consumer decreased, so you have to shift the demand curve to the left. So if we have our demand curve, mathematically linear demand curve like this, like A times A quantity, then plus B. Uh, we have this. So how can we represent here is when a demand curve shifts to the left, how is this equation going to be affected? Who wants to give a try? Which of the variable will be affected? If there is a shift in demand curve to the left, how is this demand equation? Remember, this is linear demand function or equation. So if there is a shift in one of these variable to the left or decrease in demand, which variable is going to be affected here?
The quantity.
It's not the quantity. Remember, price and quantity, they just affect the movement along this demand curve. So the variable that will be affected is the constant. So this constant is representing all this. Am I communicating? So whenever this income test, price of complement or substitute change, is this B that will be affected. So anytime there is a decrease in demand, or if a demand shift to the left, which represent decrease in demand, it is this B that will change. So a change or shift in demand curve is translated through what? Through B, the constant. So you will realize, we will see this. So let's focus more on the income. If income change, how demand curve is going to be changed. Let's go to the next slide and see. So now we have, in fact, to be more specific, let's use shift. So shift in demand curve. These are things that I'm sure you have seen them in your principles of economics. Do we have economics students in this class?
No.
Do we have economic students in this class?
No, we don't.
Ah, no one is answering.
We don't have economic students here.
Okay, great. So we have this. Remember, this was our demand curve equals to A times a quantity plus B. So to plot this or sketch this, it was simple. We said we have our this. So here will be our B, and here will be what? B over
Price interval.
A, exactly. So this is quantity,
A.
and this is price. So let's say, remember one of the factors that affects shift in demand, we discussed about that, not so, in the last slide. It could be income,
Yes.
test, price of the substituted good, price of the complement, and consumers test, even advertising expenditure that we incurred on advertisement could be a determinant of shift or change in demand curve. But let's focus more on the income here. So let's say that we have this. So let's say that if income increase, so how is this going to affect this demand curve? What will happen if income increase? It works through B. What it means, B will increase. So if B increase here, you know that we will have to go up. So it will, let's say income increase, and we know that increase in income, it will lead to what? Increase in demand. So it will lead to what? Rightward shift. We know that the shift will be rightward. It will go like this. So the amount income increased by, so this B will have a new B. So this will increase. So it will be shift, it will shift here. So let's say that the new B, we call it B1.
B1, yeah.
So let's call that one B1. So this is price. So we have new B here. And of course, we will have new price intercept as well as new quantity intercept. So what we will have here, it will be minus B1 all over A. So here we will have B1. So what it does, like it shifts the demand curve to the right. So, but in case that the income decrease, if you have decrease in income, it will shift this demand curve. This will come inward. So it will shift it to here. So we can have here B2. Then we have B2 over A. So this one is here is what? Increase in income. Then here we have decrease in income. So this will come to you handy when we are doing equilibrium in the market. So this is what we mean by shift in demand curve. So when factors that affect demand curve, they change, the demand curve will either shift to the right or to the left. Is there any question or comment, or you want to add more? Is there any question? All right, so meaning that is well. All right, we go on. Let's look at the supply function, how we sketch it. So we have this, and we talked about demand function. Obviously, if you talk about demand in a market, it has to be followed by supply. So let's look at what supply function look like. So if you look at a supply function, normally what you are trying to, it captures what? It shows a relationship. Functions equation in mathematics, what it does, it shows what? Relationships. So supply function shows relationship, but the question is relationship between what? Relationship between what? Who wants to give a shot? Let's make this class interactive, huh? It's not easy to talk for 2 hours, huh? So relationship between what? between price
demand
And the
and
quantity supply.
quantity
Quantity
supply.
supply.
Let's speak up. Let's not be just let's speak, man. And I'm not even seeing any of you. So let's speak up. Quantity supply. So to symbolize it, we can use this. So it just shows the relationship between price and quantity, supply, supply. So graphically or geometrically, is we can have this, the price. And what does the laws of supply, demand and supply says? We said that previous, when price increases, demands fall down. But when price increases, what happens to supply?
Supply increases when price increases.
So
Reduces when price
he's
reduces.
saying that when price increases, supply,
So
quantity
Increases.
supply goes up, not so.
Yes, sir.
So if that is the case, what kind of supply curve? Are we going to have an upward sloping or downward sloping?
It's an upward
Upward
sloping.
slope.
Okay, so are we going to, is it,
From
okay,
that price.
that's this, right? So it's because of this we have this. So when you have an upward sloping curve or line, so we have a relationship that is, but they have a positive relationship. That is, price have a positive impact on quantity supply. So this is what we mean by, but this is a, how to call it, a graph, but we can represent it as a function or as an equation. We will have like price equals to, we'll have something like C times quantity plus D. Remember, demand was what? P times A times quantity plus B. So supply, the coefficient there is C, while the coefficient in demand is A. The constant here is D, while the constant here is B. So don't mix them. So this is a typical supply curve, and we expect that C should be greater than 0. Remember, we said that A is less than 0 for demand. If you have read the materials I share with you or the lectures that we did. So here A is, because A is less than 0, it's telling you that price and quantity, they are negatively related. In another word, if price increase, it will lead to a fall in quantity demanded. But for here, C is greater than 0, it means if price increases, quantity supply will also increases. But also it went further, this D should also be positive. So these are some of the constraints that they put on the demand, sorry, the supply curve. So we have it like this. So at the end of the day, this here, which is our price intercept, it will be nothing but the D. So normally the graph that you will see in the books, it will stop there, but this could be extended up to here. So where you have the quantity intercept. So the quantity intercept is nothing but minus D over C. So once you have a supply curve, you can easily know the intercept. Let's assume that this is minus 1 over 2. Sorry, that should be positive. Quantity, then plus, let's say, let me look for a nice number that will not give us headache to calculate. Okay, 25. So here we know that our D is what? What is our D? our D, you know, we said price equals so C. Our D is this one,
25.
is
Our D
25.
is 25.
And our
20.
C is what?
1/2.
1 over
Ours
2,
is 1 over 2, yes.
which could be translated in the decimals as 0.5.
0.5.
So here is simple.
0.5.
This point, if we want to graph this, it will be what? 20, 25. Then if we want to look for the Q-intercept, it will be what? 25 divided by half,
25 all over
or 25
half,
over
yes.
0.5. Obviously,
12.5.
what this will give us 50.
It's 12.5.
So if you if a whole number is divided by a fraction, obviously the answer that you will have will be greater than two of the numbers. Those are some of the math tricks. So we have 50 here as our quantity intercept. So then we have our supply curve. So this supply curve is this one. So this is how you sketch the supply curve. Any question, comment, or you want to add more, or you have another method that is even better and quicker, you can share with the client. Is that Sanyanko who was speaking? Sanyang or Cisse? Anyways, so let's continue. And now that we know how to sketch a supply curve, we also talked about shift. Let's talk about change or shift in supply curve. Shift or change in supply curve. Again, it's just similar to a shift in demand curve. So when we talk about shift in or change in supply curve, what are we talking about? Anyone wants to take the lead and explain to the class what do we mean by change or shift in supply curve?
It means the decrease or increase in supply.
Sorry?
That it means the decrease or increase in supply.
And when we said increase in
The
supply,
variation of the supply varies, sorry.
Yeah, that's right. It just means, you know, whether supply curve increase or decrease. Could be increase in supply or what? Or decrease
Or decrease.
in supply. So when we say decrease, increase in supply, it's just a how to call. So when we said increase in supply, does it shift to the left or to the right?
Left.
It's to the right.
Increase.
I'm
not getting you well, that's why.
Huh?
I said I'm not getting you properly, and I'm also noting down.
It's okay.
Noting down notes, that's why.
It's good.
Yeah.
So obviously it's confusing for even for the people who spend years in lecturing. So let's say we have supply like this. And at the price of, well, let's say the price was 2. Sorry, writing on this whiteboard can be hard sometimes. So the quantity supply was 4. So we see increase in supply, right? So remember, when we are talking about increase or decrease in supply curve, price is always constant. So meaning that when we say increase in supply, we want to have a value around here. Yeah, you understand? So at the end of the day, it's a shift to the right. You know, so now we have a new supply curve here. Let's call it S1. So it's a shift to the right. You know, though some people, so it's a shift to the right, which will give us what? 6. So meaning that the quantity increases. Remember the word increase in supply. So obviously, if you know increase in supply, decrease in supply is just shift to the left. So this is a shift to the right. So the opposite of this one, you just apply. This is just shift to the left. So when it's a shift to the left, in fact, we can even illustrate it here. It can be illustrated here. So we'll have a new supply curve here. We call it S2. Remember, this was our original position. So we can have this here as 1. So here is a shift to the left. Here is a shift to the right. Shift to the right means increase in supply. Shift to the left means decrease in supply. So the question is, what are some of the factors that could cause a supply curve to shift? Principles of economics. Bring your principle of economics. Let's bring it.
Changes in technology.
Increase in technology. So increase in technology. Maybe the suppliers have new technology.